So I built these databases. People, homeowners, sourced people who Googled various things and are currently looking.
Can I pause you and have you back up? This is just, correct me if I'm wrong. So if we're getting data and we know someone has interest, this would be a good data source, then try and get them onto our landing pages.
Exactly. So the only opt-in is if they opt into your business. And then we're here as the central distributor of the information. Not just data that people can provide. People have the ability of providing appointments, age leads data, as well as real-time leads, right? There's about 100 different white labels. People are able real quickly to turn on a data brokerage, connect their payment, complete whatever else they have to with their merchant. There's, like I said, there's 19,000 different intent audiences. So we designed this because those people who generate those lists are now going to have an easier time selling them in the next couple of weeks. We're currently bringing on one by one these lists, like Chris, who's in here, has a huge market for Christmas lights, right? I heard you mention NVA. NVA is absolutely, that's what I do, like for a few people I work with.
Okay.
Then we have another guy that's big call center. Basically, he's looking for a more targeted approach to make less phone calls and make more money because his TCPA stuff violations keep going up.
Right.
So the game is, okay, how do I get better info so my guys have to make less phone calls to lower the risk of net loss? So we're trying to average it out, being like, all right, this, that, the other. And in the next couple of weeks, I have about 4 or 5 appointment providers that we're going to be onboarding too. All right, well, people might not want to do the dialing, the landing page. They just want to get a booked appointment. I would say that is a loophole, in my opinion, untested legal theory. Basically, because it's not a lead, it's not a transfer, it's not an outbound transfer. It was somebody in some way who booked appointment on a calendar. Well, that's really what I'm betting on right now.
Yeah, well, it would be if they booked on a calendar, because the calendar can have enough legal jargon at the bottom of it, scheduling time on someone's calendar, and that they're going to be contacted. But from the perspective of what we're trying to do, let's use mortgage, for instance. So they haven't opted in, so I have to create an opt-in somehow. What do you have? Is it DNC scrubbed, or am I buying the data and then I got to scrub it?
We don't scrub it, and this stuff changes by the minute. You know
Got
what
it.
I mean? I'm using, if that's a concern, I would always say to scrub it. Emails, and then I just remove all the Hotmails, MSNs, Bings, anything owned by Microsoft, because they report you to like monitors the domains. But that's what I personally do. I get 98, 99% delivery rate. Obviously, all my emails are warmed up. There's a lot of different ways. People you can give the data to book an appointment. And that's kind of the whole thing, because you're giving the data to somebody and all you know is you get an appointment back.
What I'm trying to create are leads, transferable leads. Some of it we're going to be like filtering or funneling in-house. Some of it I'm just going to be loading into the dialer. The process would be to scrub it for DNC through the DNC and litigator list. I will scrub it against BLA. The other one I can't remember. So advise me on this. The thought was soft, warm contact for those that were in C had expressed any interest somewhere. For mortgage, for instance, it's somebody that a couple of years ago when the rates were high, they might be interested now because they see the rates. I'm trying to figure out a way that we would be able to load them into a true campaign versus a physical call.
Here's the thing, right? If we're talking intent data, we're talking pennies. And intent data meaning you know what they did. Did they submit a form? No, but you know they were Googling for a motor vehicle accident attorney in Long Island because, well, we matched their cookies, their IP address, all the way to their home address, all the way to their cell phone number. Now, a motor vehicle accident, opted in, lead, or inbound, you're talking $700, $800, the attorneys. So that's the spread between, okay, where do you want to fall in the whole equation? Where can you make money? Because it's a supply chain. Instead of having to run the whole chain and be an expert at it or be scammed along the way from all these people who say they can do it. And then basically, if you're really good at what you do or the chain it is, the idea is the other people will hire you, that part of their business. It's all reviews.
Already scrubbed. So I know we can call them without risk. So
it doesn't matter if they're on a DNC or not. If you're calling them, it's the same violation. That's a loophole the DNC was originally. When a call center would get sued, lawyer would go to court. My client did everything a reasonable business would do. They ran the DNC. They had the token. The argument is, what else would a reasonable business like my clients have done?
Yeah.
And I think Jose, who just joined in here, he does a lot of the intent data too.
Somebody that has intent is definitely much less likely to pursue a lawsuit when they actually need that help and have interest. So it all sounds good. But then
a big loophole with that too is a lot of the attorneys use private investigators to be the call center because that's a loophole that they found. people are all trying to come out ahead.
Then as far as the data itself, are you like a data broker, or are you just building all this out? Is there a way for me to set filters as far as what data that I'm looking for? Like on the mortgage camp, the qualification, conventional jumbo or VA loan, single family only, refi, cash out. It needs to be a minimum of, like, can I set for the data, like people that have a minimum loan amount of 225,000 with a CLTV of 75%? Is there a way to also people that fall into a range of credits?
So to answer the first question, it's limited to the fields that we provide within. These are all different databases.
Okay.
Over the next couple of weeks, we're bringing on other people that have data with more characteristics of what you're looking for. So we're a broker of this data, but really what we are is a technology platform that allows others to host their data and then allows other people to then mix and match and enrich database to database, then finally resell it on to a consumer on a SaaS front end. So it's a giant network. I think of it like almost like a social platform for data providers and marketers and lead generators and appointment providers, basically to all speak with each other. In the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to actually directly reach out to people, and you'll have a conversation feature where you're able to talk back and forth. So actually, this person just reached out. I just created an account. So basically, you'll be able to communicate back and forth with.
Cool. So it's like a data exchange with buyers and people that want to buy.
And brokers in between.
Yes. Okay.
What's set up too, where basically people can give you things on contingency. If someone wants to, like a net 7, net 10, it's the same way the business operates. People can list their data and they can either charge you you're able to offer data appointments and leads to other white labelers, because there's 100 and we're growing, and they could sell it on their front end, and then you can end up taking a fee from their bank account. Obviously they have to do different signatures with you, but it's set up like make it a white label, but more of a white label with the flexible billing arrangements.
I can build out my data based on the way I set it up here. And
Exactly.
you're saying you could do it on a net 7, even like if the campaign's set to a net 7, the data can be paid out the same way we're getting paid on our end?
So it's all dynamic. So right now, it's set up where we can host tens of thousands of different data providers, right? That's how it's set up. So each data provider will be able to make their own agreement with you.
Oh my God, this is really intriguing.
No, this is it. And anyone can bring their data on. And the intent data audiences, we realize there's a lot of people who have them and they paid a lot of money for them. However, they don't have any easy way to sell them. And obviously this is if you want a white label, right? So this front end, which is totally frozen for me right now, this is what you end up recreating and selling. I'm not going to play around with it right now because so through the back end, if you wanted to hire another data provider, they would basically take your money or do whatever agreement they want, authorize this database to be turned on for you. So basically every single white label data providers can charge for each individual field. So, all right, you want to get credit score? Well, now a specific data provider can say it costs more tokens, more credits.
Got it. So this is very customizable. And then you can work with people that want to work, like you're just basically bringing people together on this platform, and then you can use it or sell it or anything. Okay.
I mean, I've told like probably 80% of every lead we ever gotten in 4 years, I don't have that. And I even tell Chris, who's in here, don't even try to make a deal for that, because we're good at what we do, which is, in my opinion, those 5 core databases. And I don't want to take the risk of going out shopping around trying to find good leads, because you're being, for instance, what you asked. Most times people say, hell yeah, I can get that for you, when they really have no idea what they're doing, and it just creates headaches. And we take credit cards, which means people can do a chargeback. So that's how this whole concept came about. Was you want to buy it, people want to sell it, let me make the exchange to let people do that.
So essentially putting in, it's kind of like classifieds for data. Okay. So like I would put up what my request is, and then the people that have it available it's basically like a platform to bid on data.
Yeah. So if the data is not online, for instance, if it's not like, because there's 19,000 lists, right? Is because they're uploading a lot of data. We haven't increased our server resources in 8 months. The only thing we've been doing 10 months. The only thing we've been doing is just optimizing it more and more and more. I told my developers, you don't have to be complicated with this. Just make it like Craigslist. There are so many people coming and asking, and people are making white labels, and now we can just point people to the right agency for now, and in the very near future, point them to this one tab that brings them into every agency.
This really is not what I expected. Definitely intrigued. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
I heard you guys talk about MBA cases and leads. Sorry, I jumped in pretty late. So do you, I mean, in market data, is anyone here using in market data to buy media using this data?
We have a big audience of people that want it because for 2.5 years, people have been asking me about it. And I've been saying, I'm waiting till I find someone who does it good. Yeah. I mean, do you produce that info or are you looking to buy that info from somebody?
Well, I'm a media buyer, so I'm buying traffic, constantly for clients. But one of the things that, I just got put onto is in-market data with the pixel. And, you can get the pixel and get data just from the pixel, as well as, export in-market data and then have it sync with your Facebook audiences, which was pretty interesting. So, these data service providers are coming out now. And for that whole goal, which is, buying data or buying traffic on Facebook and having costs just be, your CPA is a lot cheaper because it's in market. I heard some guys using it and saying they've seen a lot of success. The CPMs are quite higher, but the conversion rates are just there. And so they're getting high CPMs, but really good conversion rate because the in market data. So if anyone here is using it.
A lot of those white labels come to us to enrich it. And that's what they're uploading actually.
Oh, wow.
Because the files are so complicated that these businesses that use them don't make money because they don't have any efficient way of, that's what I did 5 years ago with spreadsheets of 1 million rows or 200,000 rows on a computer that had software, low bit of RAM. And that's pretty much the whole reason this came about, because getting the data to work in the way it needs to is definitely the hardest part that I did not know was a thing until trying to do this twice and having them both fail and then starting over again.
Are you doing a lot of lead gen? Are you a media buyer yourself?
Yeah. So we have buyers and we're running campaigns, and for the most part, we're using, third-party publishers. I'm a licensed agent, so my whole thing is that, and do a good job at training these or retraining our call centers to think more like an insurance agent, the one that's getting the end call. So that we're not just putting a script in front of them and saying, here, read this. They actually know what it is and what answers and what it means when they say certain things.
What are you, a life insurance agent?
I do Medicare, ACA. I'm licensed to do life insurance, but I don't do too much of it. But as far as like our offers and campaigns, Medicare is huge. We're going to be doing like 5,000 to 7,500 calls per day. OEP for ACA, we're going to be running probably close to the same amount. And we're just starting to get into MVA. So the web designer has, most of his clients are MVA attorneys that will want volume. No matter how much they can get, they always want more. So the web designer, having the connections with the attorneys, is going to build out basically everything. But there's only so much you can do with organic. Like, he's going to set up the SEO, do all that. He'll own the landing pages, but I need to supplement the volume because he's going to have buyers that are going to be hungry, waiting for it.
How do you see yourself using this data? Are you going to export it and run it through the call center? Or are you using it for, audiences and doing media purchases, media buys?
I see it as running it through our publishers that will call out on it, and our in-house teams calling out on the data, and also using it in a text drip is one of the first ideas I had was somebody that's just recently been in an accident or somebody that's expressed interest in MVA would get a text where they're going to be like opting in on those landing pages that are being built out. Because the buyers, for the most part, they want opt-ins on landing pages, trusted forms.
How do you get around TCPA if they don't opt into you?
I really don't know how I'm going to get around it at this point. TCPA is like
buying and selling. I honestly say buying and selling appointments, because when the agent gets a calendar appointment and the person on the other end of the phone that was contacted originally did it themselves at that point, and the phone call ended. It didn't transfer. So
are you scrubbing them too through known blacklists, your data at all? Do you guys have subscription with known blacklists? I guess there's those legal companies that sign up to offers just so they can sue. My cousin was pretty heavy in the SMS space, and just tons of, data. And, he's been through a few lawsuits just SMSing. So I'm just wondering, I know I talked to a few guys, so they said it's a little bit tricky, like B2B with it, but when it comes to like B2C, it's a lot harder. So just wondering what you guys are doing when call centers and then trying to get them to, raise their hand again and create a new opt-in.
The appointment idea is genius because these TCPA things never ever hit until it hits an agent or a lawyer or someone on the other end that was expecting to get a client. Because the TCPA thing, these people know that they're not going to threaten an offshore call center. Yeah. What they do is they wait. They're trained through chats or social, like Facebook group. And they know that they can't threaten the lawsuit until they get to, like, if it's insurance, the listing agent per se, and then that agent goes to their buyer, which could be me, and say, hey, here's your lawsuit. So that calendar idea with an actual, so if we're sending an appointment, that alleviates it because that's their opt-in, the calendar they've scheduled. So rather than sending a call of somebody that's interested, that's been contacted, we're sending them appointments. Dang, that is good.
So Brian, what's the cost? I mean, you have access to tons of data with, I used to be a loan officer involved with the Trump organization. And so I used to buy a lot of data, and the data that we used to get was like,
it's an exchange, right? Where we're just one piece of it. We only offer these 5 databases. You asked where we got this from. I built these. I built 3,000 programs to 3,000 counties to get 3,000 county offices tax assessments. I had a core set of data that we enrich it to. Same with B2B. These were people who submitted for an SBA or a PPP. We basically removed everyone that's not in business and removed anybody that we don't have their contact info for. So we skip traced to the Secretary of State, skip traced it to the B2C. So a big reason I built this, everyone asked me for solar leads, and I want nothing to do with solar leads more often than not. So it's designed where other people can upload their data. There's 8 million different solar leads, and it's designed where people can upload their data. You'll be able to communicate with other white labels that list their data through a ticketing feature. So you'll actually be able to do peer-to-peer transactions. I'll just go over this quickly because I know Anton heard it, but you can set up a net billing. So if you're a data provider, an appointment provider, you have the ability to set up a net billing arrangement where if you want to have someone pay you on a net 7 or net 1, whatever, through Plaid, for instance, where every vendor has the ability to subscribe to Plaid, it's just a long process to get approved. You have all that flexible billing. And if you want to basically pre-sell what you're offering, credits or appointments, you can also pre-sell them as well and have them circumvent that fee.
I'm a media buyer, so I buy my traffic. Can I set up campaigns and API posted leads in there, or what is this? It's just
so you're trying to push this info into Facebook specifically, or what's your end goal?
If I'm generating like MBA leads or some kind of high quality leads, such as solar leads or something like that, is this like a platform where I could sign up and start selling my leads to different end users?
Yes,
right?
exactly. Okay. So you can sell it directly to your customer. And it's also designed where if you wish to have other white labels buy it, they have the ability to actually make deals with you to buy or pre-buy your leads to resell through their own white label, where this whole billing thing comes in. If you want to get a contract with them, they can on board where they sell the leads you provide, and then you bill them through ACH or direct deposit. You can do credit card too, but where the leads come from, they come directly from Facebook. They go to Go High Level. Is there like
they gotta go high.
Okay, then that's simple. Yeah, you can push Go High Level goes both ways. So you can push data from here to Go High Level, or you can push yeah. And we can quickly build any other API you might need. And all your clients can actually put their Go High Level in as well. They'll be able to push all the contacts that you sell them directly into their Go High Level too. If someone's white labeling your leads from you as an intermediary, they never see the lead. That's the whole point. They can't see it because then they can steal it. But they can be the middleman, and basically they're just delivering a package that is good, that they're hoping you're providing something good on a trust basis, and they're providing to the client. But the idea is the middleman does not actually is not going to see the lead or the appointment being passed through, because then there's a conflict.
So on our end, if we were to build out and send data into one of our publishers, they won't even have a way to see the data?
No, they will. I'm talking about like a real-time lead. Or appointment. Yeah, only those two factors. The data is data, but it is only one of something, one appointment, one live transfer, then that's what's suppressed by the middle agency.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be. It can be an option that the publisher decides. Where if Jose uploads the lead, he can have the option. And that's the whole reason with the flexibility, like you were saying. A platform to have an unlimited amount of business opportunity.
Now, how are you pre-vetting your, I guess, your sellers, your data providers?
So right now we are basically strategically working with people right now. Like I have 5 appointment providers, 5 intent data providers that we're working one-on-one with to basically, as Anton was saying, like a classifieds where if Anton or let's say Chris needs Christmas light, oh, that's funny. Chris needs Christmas light intent searches because he has a really big market for that. Instead of Chris coming to me and then me having to go to the other 5 publishers, he can go into the marketplace in the next couple of days right here and either make a request or find someone that has that data. And then if they have the database, they go into the store and they can just obviously transact on it. And if it doesn't exist yet, we all know the data exists somewhere, especially if there's 10,000 different lists of intent data that exists across the whole ecosystem. And I mean, obviously someone might not update it all the time. So you might have to contact them and ask them to update it because obviously we know everyone needs something different at different times. And with all the APIs and everything, you just have easy ability to refresh. Any other questions?
That's going to really relieve a whole lot of stress.
The name of the game is if you can solve for Medicare, you solved everything.
Yeah.
All the TCPA rules come from Medicare, in my opinion.
Seems that should be a concept adapted into every vertical we do.
So yeah, I mean, you can the account's free to make to at least get your domain online. We're figuring out listing fees. We're still figuring out that business model because ideally we want to not charge the appointment providers a lot because we need you guys to get the appointments for lower cost, being their brokering between. So a lot of flexibility right now in terms of.
I think I have a good idea how we would use it. So looks good.
Yeah, any questions you have, just reach out where you were. And yeah, we're in here pretty often.
We can set up multiple users on our account or.
Yeah, so you can create sub-admins.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
No, thank you for jumping on at the last minute. This was awesome. Yeah, definitely. And then yeah, anything you need, well, help setting up the whole system, just let us know and I can jump on with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anton. Have a good day. All right. So Jose, everyone that's here right now works for us. So it's not, these aren't clients. So anything you want to jump in and say, you have the room.
Yes, sir.